Welcome to Age Friendly here on Rogers Television, and we certainly are looking to you to join us today to talk about some of the things that are dealing with Northern Hearts. Rebecca Johnson's my name. I'm the host of the program, and my guest today is Brian McKay, who is a board director on the Northern Hearts Board of Directors. But I think it's really important to identify the fact that this February, Brian, is Heart Month. So I thought it was really appropriate we talk about Northern Hearts today.
Rebecca, thanks. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I appreciate you the invitation and opportunity to talk about it.
So tell me, what is Northern? For some, we have to assume that our viewers today don't know anything about Northern Hearts. So if they didn't, what do we tell them about it?
Yeah, and you know what? From people that I've spoken in the community, Northern Hearts, it's been around since 1992, but still it might be known more for some of its programs,
right?
Like Walk with Doc and things like that. But Northern Hearts has been around since 1992. Dr. Chris Lai, who was just up until recently been on the board. Now he's more of an advisory position for the board.
Right.
Him and Dr. Hussain, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, started back in '92, setting up this Northern Hearts. I think with the mission at that time was to try and help support people who had that needed cardiac care. So they set up like healthy heart retreats at that time, and people would attend these retreats and they'd be provided education and programming to try and sort of assist them through that time. And I think the organization since that time has kind of evolved a little. We don't offer the retreats anymore, and probably has gone a little bit away from sort of the support side of things to the prevention side of things. So most of our programming now will either focus on education and or activities that will help promote heart health.
Right.
So,
when we were talking and thinking about heart health, this is a program about seniors or older adults, and we certainly know that heart health and heart disease is one of the leading causes of death for older adults.
Absolutely, yeah.
And within that, it's something that your organization really works as hard as they can to educate people, which is so important.
I think, Rebecca, one of the key things, it's what do they say, 1 in 12 will be impacted by heart disease, and it is one of the leading causes of death, not just in Canada, but in Northwestern Ontario particularly. And the thing that we try to focus on now is on the prevention side, because they say most recent as Heart and Stroke Foundation will comment that most people will have at least one risk factor. 90% of the population will have at least one risk factor of heart disease. So all these risk factors, such as smoking, obesity, inactivity, other chronic disease complications, or heavy stress in their lives, these are a lot of these are preventable. So as an organization, I think what we've just decided to try and do is focus on the prevention side of it. If people have those risk factors, what can we do to try and help prevent, lessen that? So that's really what our programming today is about.
If one of the things that people think about with your heart disease is you're going to have a heart attack, maybe a stroke, but we're talking about more about heart attack kind of a thing, disease. How do you know that you might even have that?
Well, it's a good question. Typically, the most common thing we hear about heart attacks is severe chest pain.
Right.
And then you could have lightheadedness, dizziness, short of breath. There's various things. You could feel some tension in the muscles. Anytime you feel any sort of combinations of those, probably don't hesitate. Just dial 911 and go through that. Interestingly enough, some of the episodes that we've shared with the people that have listened to some of our programming, and is the fact that women oftentimes have slightly different symptoms. So where men typically will have the severe chest pain and that real kind of send you down to your knees kind of thing, women may not have as much severe chest pain, but may experience it more in their shoulders, their neck, and their back.
Right.
So it's important for everyone to kind of know what some of those symptoms are, and just kind of pay attention. And if you're ever in doubt, if you're ever in doubt and think this I'm in trouble, just dial 911 or have somebody look after them.
Don't be fooling around, because you never know whether you are having something. And could you tell me, Brian, if in fact you had a heart attack, is it something that you can come out of, or are there any stats on that, or are you just gone at that point in time?
I think a lot of it, Rebecca, I don't know all the stats on that.
No.
I would think a couple of things intuitively about it. Our time is important, right?
Okay.
So the quicker you can get treatment. So now, excuse me, those that have CPR capability,
right.
Even now we're seeing greater expansion of defibrillator programs being available in most public areas. Anytime that someone's experiencing that, and you can give them CPR immediately,
right.
or if required, if the heart is stopped, use a defibrillator to reactivate that. Time is always important.
Right.
And I think the other piece of that too is proximity, right? If you have a heart attack and you're remotely in some inland lake and you've got to get to medical attention, or you live in a northern community and you've got to find medical attention, that could be problematic.
It's a little bit more difficult,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, with Northern Hearts and doing the prevention, so you provide education with all this area in regards to making sure that people are well educated and informed?
Well, we try.
Yeah,
We built a fairly, what I would say, a resource-heavy website on many of these aspects of heart health. I think when we put it together, we really wanted the website to become a good reference. So if people wanted information on heart health in Northwestern Ontario, let's go check out Northern Hearts. They've got a good, and we don't create the content there. We simply use already cited and referenced content that relates to, whether if you're having a heart and stroke, what are the symptoms?
Right. And this is something. So you can just, and your heart, Northern Hearts, it's is it .ca?
.org.
But northernhearts.org. So anybody can go on that and get a lot of information.
Yeah, and it's all, we categorize it by typical areas. So we talk about by healthy lifestyle. Yeah. We talk about heart and stroke symptoms. We update it every month with new information and what's going on. So again, all those risk factors, we try to address those and what you can do. And then, of course, we list all the various events and programming that we have available.
It's so really important, though, that even during the month of February, that you do some extra promotion as well. We're going to talk about one of your events that you have coming up, and some of the other activities in the next segment that we do with Northern Hearts. And my guest today is Brian McKay.
We're going to get you some water.
That would help. Well, here we are back with Age Friendly. Brian McKay is our guest today, and we're talking about the organization known as Northern Hearts. And Brian is the board director on the Northern Hearts Association. So, Brian, we talked a little bit about, if you had a heart attack and things like that. But in this segment, I'd like to talk about some of the actual programs that Northern Hearts does. Right. I think the one I recognize most is Walk with Doc, for example. Right. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I would say Walk with Doc is probably sort of the flagship program that we offer. And when I mentioned to you earlier, Rebecca, we have a lot of our quote-unquote programming is either based on education or on actual programming to keep people active, and that's where Walk with Doc comes in. I think it's been over 20 years we've been offering the Walk with Doc program, and it's really intended to be sort of a social walk. It's not a race, it's not a competition, it's just a social walk in the evening for about an hour. We have a medical professional, usually a doctor. Well, Dr. Lai started it all, of course, and hypothetically the medical professional would say a few words about heart health. Someone would kind of give here's where we're walking tonight, whether it's we've at Boulevard, we were at the Marina for a few years, and then we're back to Boulevard again.
Well, Brian, one of the things that's really important is this with this Walk with Doc. People just can come. Does it matter? Do you have to sign up, register?
Anyone can show up, Rebecca.
Okay.
Any level of agility, mobility,
Right.
everyone is welcome. There's no fees to attend. Actually, there's no fees to attend any of our programming, which I would love people to be aware of.
Right.
So Walk with Doc, we run it for 2 weeks in June. This year it'll be at Boulevard. I don't have the dates right on my head right at the moment.
No, but
the
it'll be in
last 2
June.
weeks of June. And we run it Monday to Thursday evening for an hour. So again, a medical professional will kind of kick off the evening, talk a little bit about heart health, and then someone from Northern Hearts, our program coordinator, or someone might say, here's where we're going, here's our route. And we have a team of volunteers, thank you for them, that come out and help sort of guide the walkers or any of those that might be struggling a little bit, kind of do a path. It's not long, but it's only about an hour. And we have sort of rest stations for those that may say, look, I only want to go this far and I come back. But what it does as well, it provides some socialization, right? So everyone gets to, talk with each other. They have an opportunity to speak with the medical professional that's volunteering their time, to
which
come
is
out
really
and help.
important.
Oh, it's fabulous. I mean, we're so fortunate, to have them donate the time to come out. They believe in the importance of exercise, and they know how it can impact heart health and good for your heart. So they try to encourage that as much as they can.
Okay. So, Brian, when we've talked a little bit about the Walk with Doc, but I was talking about your website, which people can go on, and I did do that. You have a Walk with Doc, a Talk with Walk, a Walk with Doc, and then, so those three things, are they somewhat similar or what?
Well, the intention, I think, with Dr. Lai, of course, when everything started, the doc was always Dr. Lai.
Right.
But we expand that to have other medical professionals. So from our education side, we have Talk with Doc. So periodically, we'll put on a special talk speaking specifically about some aspect of heart health, where a doctor or medical professional will, let's say it's diabetes in the heart, will put on a presentation for that specifically. We'll find a place to host that in the community. Everyone's welcome to attend. We try to promote that as much as we can.
Right.
We have in February, as you mentioned earlier, February being Heart Month, we like to try and celebrate that a little bit more. And we put on a day called Healthy Heart Day. And it's on Saturday, February 22nd. We hold that at the Thunder Bay 55 Plus Center.
Right.
And it's a day-long event with various medical professionals talking about almost every aspect of heart health. So we talk about medications in your heart. We talk about diabetes in your heart. We talk about the importance of exercise. We talk about the importance of nutrition. So we have a nutritionist. We have a kinesiologist from the Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Center. We have a representative from the Thunder Bay District Health Unit talking about nutrition. And so we also have representative from the health unit speaking about managing sort of the psychological impact, managing stress to promote better health. So the days-long event features all of these medical professionals. It's a pretty long event. So beyond, we have Healthy Heart Day, Talk with Doc, and our other events like Dine with Doc, Rock with Doc, Golf with Doc are more of our fundraising kind of events where we rely on people to come out and try to help support the organization, have a bit of fun. And that's where we get our funds to try and offer these programs, which are free for everyone to attend.
And it's so important because so many people really sometimes can't afford to do all that, but they need to they need the education. And so it's nice that Northern Hearts is able to provide that to the community. One
of the things we've done over the last year, which is quite exciting, I think, and we just talked briefly about the importance of prevention, if all of those risk factors, we started to go into the schools. So we did a couple of presentations into Claude Garden and Nor'Wester View. And Dr. Affleck's on our board, and Nancy Angus was on our board. They go in and they do presentations to the young children about heart health, and Dr. Affleck will take a stethoscope and try to get their heart beat. And show them that. And we have a little tiny squeezable heart that we give them with the Northern Hearts logo on it, just as an extra step. So what the intent, I think, there is that we're trying to reach a younger demographic. So the earlier we can get the message out about protecting your heart,
right, and
doing the right things. Yeah, the whole lifestyle piece and the prevention. If we can get that message out a lot sooner, maybe we'll have an impact down the road at cutting back on some of these high numbers of
which is what you really want to do.
That's what it's all about. That's our mission.
It would be nice to be able to get rid of heart disease, but I don't know that you're going to do that in the next decade, kind of a thing. But yes,
our mission does say that we want to reduce heart disease in northwestern Ontario. That's the bottom line,
and that's what we can do.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, we're going to talk to Brian in our next segment as well from Northern Hearts about some of the volunteer opportunities that you might be able to join with them at Northern Hearts. So stay tuned. Well, here we are back with Brian McKay from Northern Hearts, and we're talking about heart disease and the prevention of it primarily, Brian, which is so very important because it is one of the leading causes of death in our community in northwestern Ontario. But if I wanted to, say, get involved with Northern Hearts, you know, you enticed me from the things that you've said about whether it was Walk with Doc or whatever. How could I, as an individual, get involved?
We welcome anyone that has a passion to share our mission, which I've mentioned is to try and reduce heart disease. So if you find yourself, hey, I want to do something to support that, we welcome anyone that wants to volunteer their time to Northern Hearts. Please just contact any one of us. We've got our email. It's available through our website. I think it's Northern Hearts at tbaytel.net.
Yeah.
So you could email any one of us. We'll get back to you. Our program coordinator handles most of our correspondence there. Someone would get back to you. We rely on volunteers, a group of volunteers, particularly for our Walk with Doc, that assist those walkers and getting kind of making sure they're okay and on the right route and keeping everybody on track in terms of where the route might be.
Right.
We have volunteers that help out at Healthy Heart Day and some other, and we have, of course, our golf tournament and our other events where we rely on people to kind of help us out a bit. We also have, our board is all volunteer, so we have a board of directors, all volunteer. Right now, if anyone has an interest in a passion that they would like to pursue, I would consider us, we're an active board. Like we will take on, so we do our events, you'll usually find us there kind of doing that. So we like to get involved if we can. I would say beyond that, we've got our volunteers, our board. And
do you have any committees or anything that people can get involved in?
Not so much as, we don't strike too many committees. We usually tackle our events primarily our fundraising events are always tough. We rely on the generous support of like local businesses and organizations. Like we might approach them and say, you know, we're having a golf tournament, would you be good enough? And that's always, it's always hard. They do so much and there's such a demand on them, you know, from all these organizations that rely on their support. So, you know, we include them in our thank yous every year, like we do our volunteers. And
one of the other things, Brian, is do you have any partnership organizations that you work with that are similar in what you're trying to address here with heart disease?
Not so much in a formal partnership, Rebecca, but I mean, we try. For example, on Healthy Heart Day, I contacted the Heart and Stroke Foundation. They have an amazing lineup, a library, if you will, of various publications dealing with heart health. They're good enough to send us materials, right? We're not we're not affiliated with Heart and Stroke Foundation, but we know that the content is bang on. So and they share it with us generously. So we just make that available to anyone during Healthy Heart Day. We obviously are looking forward to, like, obviously age-friendly Thunder Bay. We feel any kind of connection to other organizations that we can kind of share
are similar, that have the same kind of thrust to getting out and working with seniors, et cetera.
Exactly. A lot of our events will take place at the 55+ Center. So we've got that strong relationship built with them. We have a strong relationship with the Thunder Bay District Health Unit because they have the same mission of trying to make a healthier community.
Right.
We deal with the cardiovascular rehab program at the Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Center. They have the same mission of trying to, they're more on the support side of heart health, but it's all the same. So any organization that, oftentimes, any organization that has walks, for example, they'll be sponsoring a walk in the community. We'll try to promote them through our Facebook page or, share it in our monthly newsletter. So we have those kind of things where if someone else has got something that supports the mission, we try to support that as well.
You've been involved personally for quite a while.
I think I've been on the board now 6 years.
Right.
So yeah.
It's become a passion for you.
Well, heart health has always been, it's kind of close to the family. I lost my dad to a heart attack at 63. He was a young man. And I always thought, is there something I can do, pay tribute to try and pay tribute to him, but also to try and say, hey, wait a minute, is there something we can do to try and prevent other people from going through that?
Yeah, and I guess what I'm getting at too, Brian, is it doesn't matter how much older you are. No, nobody has to be old. They can get older. I keep telling people that. You're not old, you're older.
That's
but
right.
the point I'm getting at is you can do this at any age you want to do it.
Absolutely, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. Exercise is important at any age.
Of course.
Yeah. So you can still improve a lifestyle at any age you're in. And even though it may be smaller amounts in different areas, but it's still all possible. Yeah.
And so, I often think of our community that they need to be really thinking seriously as an individual. If I'm sitting here watching this program today about Northern Hearts, you can volunteer, even if it's for a short amount of time or whatever.
Come on out. Yeah, come please. I invite all of the viewers.
Yeah.
Age-friendly community. Everyone is welcome to join in any of our programs. Walk with Doc particularly might be a great one for people to come out in June during those evenings. And
I'm just going to interrupt because I think it's really important to say, because we're getting to the end of the program, is the fact is that you can go by yourself. If you're an isolated individual sitting in an apartment, for example, or in your home, and saying, I don't know anybody, well, that doesn't matter. You can go and find somebody else that you can talk to when you're walking.
Absolutely. And the whole socialization piece, Rebecca, is,
right.
As you know, I mean, that reduces stress, and it's also good for you and good for heart health. We reached out last year to the Multicultural Association for newcomers to Canada and saying, well, I mean, come on out and learn a little bit, talk to some other people about, what's going on, just as an invitation,
yes.
In the hopes that, they might, encourage people to come out. So it's open to everyone.
And that's so very important. Brian, you've been able to provide us some really great information today about Northern Hearts, an organization here in our community, and it was actually developed by people here in our community. And thank you for the work that you do. You personally do for this organization.
Rebecca, thanks for having us.
No.
And thanks for allowing us to tell a little bit about Northern Hearts.
Well, we're happy to do that.
Appreciate you being here.
So if you have an opportunity and want to volunteer in Northern Hearts, very easy to get in touch with them. And certainly it's an opportunity to learn a little bit more about how we can prevent heart disease here in Northwestern Ontario. Brian, thanks very much. It's been a good program, a lot of good information, so
Thank
appreciate
you, Rebecca.
that.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Linda DePiro. Now, did you know that your calf muscles are your second heart? Your heart beats, the blood goes down, and the calf muscles give the blood an extra push through the veins back to the heart. So it assists in circulating the blood throughout the body. So this is one exercise how to really work the calves and at the same time strengthen your feet and your ankles. I'm going to start with my feet just a little bit apart, and I have my sternum lifted. I'm just going to add a few little bends. Now I'm going to plie, which is the bend, pop my heels, straighten and lower. And I'm only going to do a few reps with this, but I would like you, when you're doing it, to go into 5 to 6 reps. Let's lift now, lift. I'm holding on to the chair just for balance, trying not to push too much of my upper body weight into the chair. I want the legs to do the work. Standing nice and tall, we're gonna add a little plie and lift. So bend and straighten, right? Being careful with your knees if you have knee issues. Do about 8 of those and then little tiny pulses for about 8. You can try removing your hand from the chair to balance. Now this can be done parallel, a turnout, a wider parallel, and a turnout. Stretching, very important to stretch the calf so that they do not become restricted. So you want that blood flow. I have my feet parallel, the foot is back, the other foot is forward, and I start with just a little bend into the front knee. Breathe in. Now imagine that there's clay through the back heel, and you want to push that clay into the floor a little bit more, and then come forward a little bit. So not only is this great for getting the blood flow going, but strengthens ankles, feet, calves, which consists of the soleus and the gastrocnemius. So keep the stretch going, the calves lengthened, so that you can have a free blood flow. Bye.